already when you're driving slow, you realize it's a super silent feeling and you have this upright, comfortable seating position. You really feel like being king of the road. But again, you know, not in a bad or super arrogant way, because you rather enjoy, relax. You don't feel the urge to drive fast, even though we do have the V8 here under the hood at the moment. So you can have it at a very low RPM. And we not only have the air suspension, which is like really, you know, offering this air carpet ride, so definitely an air suspension that does offer that. Nowadays, so many air suspension are tuned into a very harsh way to be sporty. They didn't do it here, and I like that. But then, I already want to show you that right now, because that's one of the highlights, the E-active body control. This one here has, you can pick it here in driving mode, the so-called curve mode. And then the car is evening out the G-forces, so to say, by, let's say, playing a motorcycle. And so the car leans in the corner a little bit, and it is somewhat a strange feeling when you're doing, you know, even just a small slalom, because you might also pick it up here on the camera. The car is not tilting to the side, although it has an air suspension. So that's here with the curve mode. And now with comfort mode, which is the softest mode, let's do that again. And there you can see. Do you see it? We definitely, and I also see Holger next to me like, vroom, vroom, vroom. This augmented reality, there you can see again this sign telling me where to go. The front camera gives me an image, and then in the front camera image, there's this sign saying exactly go right there. We can also test the sport mode. Then the RPMs are turned up higher. The car already shifts down a gear. And then we can show you something of the acceleration. I'll just let the car first roll. There's a speed limit of 65 miles here. And I'll go down to 30 miles and then hammer it. Let's see. Plop. And that was already 68 miles, so I had to reduce the speed now immediately again. That went quite quick, right? And also very harmonious acceleration, all-wheel drive, rear-wheel bias here, since it's a classic permanent all-wheel drive. The V8 does have some sound you could notice, yes. However, it is so well insulated from the cabin, and it's also not a car that has the approach of being super loud in the interior, that it wasn't that significant as for the sound. And here then, when you're cruising on the highway, you would rather go back to the comfort mode. Then when you have the E-active body control, it's not only that it's somehow different in the curve mode, it is already active in the normal comfort mode. So the difference would be that the normal air suspension is really adapting in a way that, you know, just the waves are evened out, that it's always going up and down. And when you have this E-active body control, there's a camera scanning the road surface in front of us and calculating together with the speed, seeing what's coming ahead, and then the suspension goes in before the obstacle. You can activate the cruise control, put it up to give it a little bit more speed. And now we're in the cruise control mode. And this head-up display is really so large, it's hardly, you cannot miss it. But it's still not, it's not too distracting actually. It's still okay, although it has a really decent size. Cruise control, of course, really important for staying on the motorway. I really like that. And it also has an active steering function. See here, I'm being kept on the middle of the lane. Of course, it's not intended to be used in the way I'm doing it right now, so please don't do that. Just showing it to you as a proof. You should keep your hands on the steering wheel, where I do, but you should be in control all the time. But you can, let's say, relax maybe a little bit more, and of course never trust 100% in the systems. But so far the experience we had with the assistance systems by Mercedes, they're quite well done. But in general you can say, although this is a quite big car, it feels astonishingly agile. The same was also for the X7, but I really see the difference X7 and the GLS, that the X7 is set on a little sportier tone. The X5 is also even sportier than the X7, yes, but the GLS and also, you know, the philosophy of Mercedes is always a little bit more on the comfort, whereas BMW always sets a little bit sportier tone, and this is also what we could realize with those vehicles. So meanwhile we are down to about 22 mpg, which is still more a realistic figure, and we can super fast here, but here we have no one in front of us, no one behind us, so we can also do a short acceleration from standstill for you. Let's see. Plop. That was 0 to 60 miles an hour. That went quite quick, didn't it? And also again, although it's such a heavy vehicle, due to the all-wheel drive distribution, was a quite harmonious ride still. But and now we have some off-road driving for you. At the moment I'm still in the normal comfort mode because that also gives me most comfort when driving off-road. Here again in the V8 and also with the E-active body control, because that's a very interesting fact for driving off-road. This suspension tries to put all the wheels to the ground, and therefore you also do not need any differential lock at the rear axle, for example, because you would need it when wheels off the ground and just spinning. But here, since the suspension keeps it all to the ground, you don't need it. That's very interesting. But there's still a mechanical longitudinal lock, so center differential lock, that's available when you go to the off-road plus mode. In the off-road mode, the vehicle would go up from the air suspension. At the moment we do not need that. We are just fine with the normal ground clearance, which is about 20 centimeters, and we could all the way go up to 30 centimeters in the highest off-road mode, or if I use the setting here in the middle console as well. But here, since we are also a little bit faster here, this is not the steepest off-road course. We'll also do some other obstacles very soon, but here so far it's always a little bit more interesting on camera to show you that. And it is, of course, a rough surface, but the good thing is when you have a vehicle with air suspension and drive it off-road, you can somewhat drive off-road in a comfortable way. You know that the Mercedes G-Class is more capable off-road and can do more things probably than this car, but since it doesn't have an air suspension, it's also a little bit rougher to drive it off-road. And now it gets really exciting once again. 3-liter R6, the 6-cylinder, 367 horsepower, so different engine, and I have to say this is really surprising because I immediately feel that this one here is the lighter vehicle. So yes, a 6-cylinder is lighter than an 8-cylinder, but I wouldn't have expected that this effect is actually so significant. You immediately feel that it's a lighter vehicle. It's almost like the difference in feeling when you're driving a GLS or a GLE. That's significant it is. So that was really surprising now to me. We had a really good fuel consumption, about 33 mpg now. That's something 8 to 9 liters on 100 kilometers, and that's a massive difference to that V8, where we rather had some 20 mpg, so over 10 mpg difference, or almost 4 liters on 100 kilometers difference to the 8-cylinder. And now to our conclusion for today with the all-new Mercedes GLS. It was definitely a very impressive ride. Exterior styling, I think, is very elegant, although it's quite strong still in the front. I think it works quite well. Just, this rear perspective where the top part is a little bit narrower, the same we found also with the BMW X7. Interior, new build quality, more infotainment, a lot of different very interesting functions, and also different concept as for the captain seats if we, for example, compare it to the BMW X7. In driving, very interesting, a soft air suspension you get, yes, and also this special E-active body control if you want that. So again, as I said, it's not a must-have option, but it's a very interesting technology highlight that you can lean into those corners. But what I also found out that this is not making the ride softer. So, you're leaning inside, you reduce G-force or so, but when you have the normal air suspension, it is somewhat softer then. In this curve mode, you have to think about that the suspension goes lower in a way and then also, gets a little bit stiffer. Yeah, you have to think about what's more important to you than this very soft carpet ride or more the agility factor. But very interesting for sure. Well, and then if you compare it to the predecessor, this one here now with a more agile ride in any case, this is one big difference, and of course more infotainment on the inside and even more space because it has become a little bit longer. Same as for the GLE difference, the smaller brother, here just more space in the rear legroom area. This is the crucial difference. And from a driving, well, this one, as it has a quite agile driving still for a big SUV, not too much difference, but the more cornery it gets, the more difference there will also be in driving GLE versus GLS. And the final question, X7 or GLS? I mean, both have their unique selling points, somewhat to say. I found that the X7 has a little bit more natural driving fun feeling. That's what, a lot of BMWs are also famous for. Probably I would go here with a standard air suspension if you want the softest, more, air carpet ride. This could speak for that. And of course also some design reasons. The captain seats were actually better in the BMW X7 with the cost of not having the possibility to fold them all flat. Please give us some feedback and also discuss this vehicle here on Autogefühl. Tune in next time, and also to the competitor reviews. We'll always link a couple of related reviews in the video description and in the comments. Tune into those and we see us there.